To begin today's practice, I'm going to step onto about the middle of the mat. If you have an extra mat, you can roll that up, which we'll be using later on, and sit on that, or you can use a block or a pillow. As you settle down, bring one ankle in front of the other in Siddhasana, allowing the knees to release below the front hips. Draw the flesh of your butt cheeks out so you feel you're on your sits bones more than your tailbone. And then when you find that lordosis, that curve in your low back, feel how that allows the rest of the spine to lengthen upwards through its natural curves. Bringing the hands today into Apana Mudra. So you're connecting the middle two fingers together with the thumb, either your thumb on top of the nails or connected to the pads. Lengthen through the outer two fingers and through your elbows, creating long lines, long channels through the arms and through the spine. Your palms can face up or down, whichever works best for you. This gesture in the hands is kind of like Spider-Man's gesture when he's releasing his webbing. So what we're doing here with this detoxifying breath and mudra, or symbol in the hands, is releasing our own cobwebs, letting go of what no longer serves. We're working with Satali pranayam, cooling breath. So curl your tongue, or make a small mouth and stick your tongue through. And then inhale through your tongue and exhale through your nose without changing your tongue or your mouth. Once you get a sense of the breathing and the mudra in the hands, and you don't need to look outwards, take your gaze inwards. Turn your focus inwards and upwards towards the third eye point, Ajna chakra, between the brows. As you find your rhythm, as you slow down into breathing in through your tongue like it's a straw, slowly and steadily, and breathing out through your nose, take your attention to the exhales. Focus on the physical letting go, emptying the lungs. Right towards the end of the exhale, draw your belly back towards your spine, keeping your spine lifted, the back of your skull lifted and back, and your sternum lifted in front. In addition to the physical letting go on the exhale, mentally or emotionally release what no longer serves without getting too caught up in thinking about this process. Just take the opportunity to let go, to empty out. Like spring cleaning, we're clearing room. So perhaps there are ways of thinking or patterns of behavior that no longer serve you that you can release here with each exhale. Not only extending out through the exhale in the nose, but in your mind's eye, extending out through the arms and through the outer two fingers, like you're shooting out your cobwebs. So we're clearing room for the fresh, for what we consciously desire to cultivate. Now begin to notice the inhales. Is there any more room for the breath to come in after your clearing out process, after your complete exhales? What is it you would like to draw in? What quality or energy or way of being would you like to plant? This practice is called sowing seeds. So imagine that as you inhale, you're planting intentionally a seed for yourself, for this practice or for this day, for this lifetime. You're filling yourself with the inhale to your very edges with that quality, that way of being. If you find with this detoxifying breath, Satali pranayam, which helps to cool your temperature as well as your temper, that your tongue dries out, you can keep going, or if it's too much, creating a dry cough, then re-moisten your tongue and begin again. As you draw your tongue back in, notice the taste. Release your hands from Apana Mudra and bring them together at your heart in Atmanjali Mudra. Shifting into Ujjayi Pranayam, taking that slow, steady breath you were just doing, but shifting into breathing in and out through your nose, hearing the sound in your throat. And we tune in with the Adi mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Taking a breath in for the first of 3. As you inhale, lift your arms up overhead, and as you exhale, reach out wide, stretch back, opening through your shoulders, allowing your breath to move your arms here. So inhaling up, exhaling back, getting a stretch across your chest, feeling the lengthening through your waist and the opening through your ribs, and taking one more circle. As you release on this exhale, bring yourself off your rolled mat and down onto your back. We're going to take that rolled mat and fold it in half and bring it to the upper top of the thighs, right next to the pubic bones. Once you find where your rolled mat or your block or your pillow is set, then bring your interlaced fingers behind your head and lengthen your legs up easily so there's not a lot of struggle or shaking, but then start to energize your feet so it looks like you have high heels on, pressing the balls of your feet up and drawing your toes back. Get a sense of your ocean-sounding breath if you lost it in that transition. And feeling the breath in the belly, lift your head up gently so you're not yanking on your neck. Look at your breath in your belly now. Moving into yogi lifts with the rolled mat. Inhale, pause, pull your belly down, and then exhale and pull your belly deeper, curl your tailbone up towards the rolled mat, squeeze your thighs in towards the rolled mat, and then lengthen up through your legs and spread your 10 toes out. Soften, take a break on the inhale. Jaw relaxed. Pause, pull your belly down, and then exhale. Pull your belly deeper, curl your tailbone up, squeeze your thighs towards each other, lengthen up through your legs, spread your 10 toes out. Doing just 2 more. Inhale, soften, check you're not pulling your neck, and then pull your belly down. Exhale, curl tailbone up, squeeze thighs together, lengthen legs, spread your 10 toes out. One last one. Keeping space between your top and bottom teeth. As you exhale and you lengthen up through your legs and you squeeze your legs together, thighs and ankles together. At the very end of the exhale, pull your belly a little deeper. and then release down and take a little break, letting your head rest in your hands. As you breathe deeply into your belly, noticing the energy that you've brought into the core, reconnect with the seed that you're planting in today's practice, and think of planting it deep in your belly as we come into these last two, this variation of yogi lifts. This next time that you inhale, bring your legs up, energize your feet, and then lift your head up easily. And as you come up, relace your fingers so you have the other thumb on top. And then pull your elbows up towards the level of your knees so your shoulder blades come up off the ground. Doing just two here. Inhale, belly open. Pull down, exhale, pull deeper, lengthen up, spread your toes out. And then soften on the inhale. Take a little break. Exhale, pull the belly down. Curl tailbone up, squeeze your thighs together, lengthen up and out through your legs, and pull your elbows up towards your knees, shoulder blades off the ground. And then take that in. As you come back down, release your arms, keep the rolled mat, bring your feet down just beyond your bum. Look at your knees and adjust your knees so they're in line with your front hips. And you might need to move the rolled mat so that your knees can align with your front hips. Feel free to move it lower, closer towards your knees. Get a sense of your ankles being underneath your knees. Lift your 10 toe tips and then lift your forearms so your fingertips point up towards the ceiling, elbows right next to your ribs. As you inhale, press your shoulders and your elbows into the ground, lift your sternum, and as you exhale, curl your tailbone up to the rolled mat, just like you did in the yogi lifts. And then continue with this process. Inhale, lift your sternum, press your shoulders and your elbows down. Exhale, curl your tailbone up towards the rolled mat, lengthening your low back, pushing the ground away with the soles of your feet, particularly pressing big toe balls into the ground so that your knees stay aligned over your ankles. You're coming up progressively as opposed to coming up and down. So each inhale, reiterate the lift of the chest, shoulders pressing down so you create a tunnel for your neck. Each exhale, lengthen your low back, drawing low belly in and up, pushing the ground away with your feet. When you get up to your highest place where you can breathe, release your hands down and walk your shoulders underneath you so that you create more of a tunnel for your neck. You take your neck bones off the ground. And then whatever's on the ground, aside from your head, use that to push the ground away. Little fingers, elbows, shoulders, inhale, sternum up. Exhale, lengthen through your low back and push the ground away with your feet, rolling knees in towards each other. Finding your bridge, Setu Bandhasana. Next time you exhale, release your shoulders out wide, bring your arms out, roll your spine down, release your toes and lift your heels so that you can roll your low back into the ground. Now, once you come all the way down, release your knees out to the side, soles of your feet together, and you may want to rest that rolled mat on your pelvis or your thighs. If not, just put it off to the side. If this feels too intense to have your knees open, then tuck into a small ball and take that in. Breathe that in. Notice how you feel. Because your inner thighs have just done a bit of work. As you release out of this, bring your hands underneath your knees, draw your knees in towards each other, help them back up into center, and tuck into a small ball. Getting a sense of your pelvis, your inner thighs, breathing deep into them, and then moving into rocking and rolling on your back. This should feel good, like a good massage for your back. So if rolling along the length doesn't feel smart for you, then stay with rocking side to side or just circling your knees, massaging your sacrum. If you're moving along the length of your spine, make sure you don't put pressure on your neck and see if you can balance on your sits bones when you come up. If it feels good, rock and roll along the sides, along the right and then along the left, getting a sense of what you feel on each side of your spine. If you're rocking on each side, come back to center, and this next time you inhale, lift yourself up onto your feet for Kundalini frogs, leaping frogs, bringing your feet into a V shape and coming to about the middle of the mat so you have room for the next few things. Check to see if you can touch the ground when your legs are long, and if that's the case, then bring your heels together up off the ground. Inhale as you lift your hips up, and exhale as you bring your hips down and lift your head and your heart up, opening your knees out over your toes, using your hands for balance, so find the place where they need to be to help you balance and to help clear your heart space as you come down on the exhale. Inhale, lift up, hips up, head down. Exhale, hips down, head up. Finding a dynamic breath through your nose, so you'll hear the sound of the breath more in the nose than in the throat. Inhaling up, exhaling down. If your heels are together off the ground, they remain together off the ground throughout the movement. Now that you have a sense of the movement, see if you can move a little bit more dynamically and still retain the precision and the alignment, and begin to count the movement. Inhale up, exhale down being 1. In this next minute, see how many, just out of curiosity, you do. In your practice, I encourage you to move towards doing your age +1. So as you get older, you get stronger. But don't sacrifice quality for quantity. Make sure you're staying aligned and safe, particularly if you have knee issues. As you continue, it gets more intense. You start to feel more weight coming into your hands. Draw the strength up through your legs. Think of pulling energy up out of the earth into your hips on the inhale, and then exhale, sliding down and letting it float up to the heart and the head. This next time that you exhale and come down, pause. And then as you inhale, lift your hips up, bring your feet parallel, and hang over. Find where it feels right for your hamstrings and your low back, so feel free to bend your knees deeply if you have any issues or fear there. If your hands touch the ground, you want to go deeper, hold opposite elbows. Check that your head is not holding everything together by allowing it to shake or nod. Feeling that release up your spine and beginning to breathe a little deeper, a little slower and deeper. So you're integrating what you've just done dynamically in frogs, slowing the breath down. I'm going to transition into stretching out the front of the thighs, the quadriceps that just engaged in those frogs. So if you're comfortable on your toes, then come back, staying on your toes, bringing your weight back into your hands. If this doesn't work, be on your shins instead. Find where your knees align with your front hips, so your thighs are parallel to each other, just like earlier in bridge pose. And then lift your butt up away from your heels and tuck your tail towards your knees until you feel that stretch in your quadriceps and it's breathable, so you're not clenching your jaw. Look at your pelvis and see if you can draw your pubic bones up, your front hip bones up. If you want to release your head back, feel free, but keep your mind on your pelvis. And this next time that you inhale, lift up and come forward into table, stretching your fingers out, lifting your wrist and your thumb in one hand as you take the weight in the other, stretching where the fingers connect to the palm of the hand. When you release your hand down and stretch the other hand, spread your fingers out wide. Find wide triangles between your fingers. When you have both palms planted down, the base of the fingers pressing down, move your spine with your breath, rolling into cat and cow. Exhaling, pushing the ground away with the base of your fingers, the front of your shins and your ankles, arching your back up towards the sky. As you inhale, roll from your tailbone up to your head. Check that you can clear your shoulder blades back away from your neck, so you're drawing your heart forward between your upper arms. Moving between these two, finding a pace that feels good, a sense of stretching out along your spine into your hips and shoulders. This next time that you inhale, come to neutral, to table position, and curl your toes under, shifting your weight back onto your feet. Check your feet are roughly fist-width apart, and then uncurl to standing, checking you have mid-toes aligned with ankles, knees, and front hips. So your feet are in mountain Tadasana stance. As you lift your head, roll your shoulders up and back. Focus your eyes on a point to help you anchor in space. As you find your central channel lifting up through your ankles and your inner thighs, shift your weight over to your left foot. Turn your right toes and right knee out. If you want more support, bring your right foot just inside your ankle with your toes on the ground. Otherwise, you can come up higher to the inner calf or the inner thigh, but don't place your right foot against your inner left knee. So above or below your knee. When you find the place where your foot is going to rest, first we're establishing the standing leg, the opening leg, and then bring your hands, once you have your legs set, bring your hands to your front hips so you can feel the front hip bones with your fingertips. And play with bringing the right front hip down and forward and the right knee back at the same time. So notice how that right hip is up and back from the left one. See if you can align them like headlights, more level with the floor and facing straight ahead, without sinking into your outer left hip. So strong energy on your inner left thigh. So now we have this energy, this root system underneath through the leg, through the hips, through the core. From that, extend your arms upwards. Or keep your hands at your hips. The arms are an extension of what's established underneath as opposed to trying to hold everything up. So if you're scrunched up through your shoulders or tense through your jaw, bring your hands back down. Next time that you exhale, release your arms and then your foot. And reset your mountain stance. So look down and see your feet. See that the midline of your feet are parallel to each other. Once you've seen that, lift your head, close your eyes, roll your shoulder blades onto your back, and take in the energy of that left leg. Notice the heat, the energy, the sense of expansion in your foot and your calf. Think of breathing that, circulating that energy towards your seed, where you want it to go. See if you can keep your eyes closed as you shift your way into your right foot. Spread your toes, your roots and your toes, lift your inner arch, your inner thigh, and then turn your left toes and knee out to the side, finding where your weight is on your right foot. Your left foot is now hovering. Take your gaze outwards if you haven't already. Focus on a point to help anchor you in space. And as you set your left foot inside your right leg, trust that it might be different than where it was on the other side, as long as it's not against the inner right knee. Once you find your foot set, then bring your hands to your front hips and play with bringing your left hip down and forward and at the same time your left knee back. Feel that your right knee is not locked. You're lifting up through the quadricep muscle, not locking your knee back. And when you start to find where you can take your left hip down and forward and your left knee back at the same time, lift up through your core, your stem, to open out of all that opening in your hips. And then if you want, take your arms out and up, extend up through your branches. As you lengthen through your elbows and through your fingers, spreading your fingers out, release down through your shoulders. Imagine your arms are connected to your waist instead of to your neck. Give it one more inhale, and then as you exhale, release your arms out and down and reset yourself in mountain pose One more time, let your eyes close once you've seen your feet and take that in. Notice the energy that you just stirred up in your right foot, your right leg. If you had planted a seed at the beginning, think of taking the energy that you've created in that right foot and leg and directing it towards you where you want it to go. Let your eyes open and check your feet again. Make sure that they're parallel. Bend your knees slightly, looking to see that your knees align over your middle toes so you can see your big toes inside your kneecaps. We're rolling into ragdoll from here. So start with your back broad as though it's against a wall. The back of your head, shoulder blades, some of your low back, but particularly your butt against that imaginary wall. And then start by releasing your head as though it's weighted. And let your head peel away from the wall, letting your arms hang. Breath by breath, let your spine peel away from that imaginary wall. So keeping a little tuck in your belly until all that's left is your pelvis, your sacrum or your butt cheeks against the wall. When you find that release, if your hips are not already higher, think of walking your butt cheeks up the wall and hanging from there, hanging from your sits bones, letting your spine release down. If your hands touch the ground, you want to go into a deeper inversion, hold opposite elbows, checking that your head isn't holding tight by shaking and nodding your head. And this next time that you exhale, release your hands down and shift yourself down into child, but we're going to take this into a wide child. Walk your knees out to the edges or maybe even off the edges of the mat. It depends on the stretch that you're feeling on your inner thighs, so find where that feels good. And then use your hands in front like we've done before in extended child to push the ground away. Walk your hips back over your heels. Breathe into your low back. And as you find the lengthening in the low back, the set of your knees, then either rest your head on your hands or on the ground and focus your breath into your low back. A few more rounds, breathing deep into your hips and your thighs, noticing what this practice has stirred up there. And then let go of the breath. Allow it to release into its own natural rhythm. Allowing yourself to settle and to take in what you've done. As you continue to rest here, I'll read you a bit of a poem by Rumi called The Seed Market. Can you find another market like this, where with your one rose you can buy hundreds of rose gardens, where for one seed get a whole wilderness, for one weak breath a divine wind? You've been fearful of being absorbed in the ground or drawn up by the air. Now your water bead lets go and drops into the ocean where it came from. It no longer has the form it had, but it's still water. The essence is the same. This giving up is not a repenting, it's a deep honoring of yourself. Bring your attention into your breath, breathing into yourself more fully, more deeply. Unfold your hands if they're under your head and push the ground away to come upright slowly. Walking your legs back towards each other gently. Lean forwards and cross your feet behind you and sit through, coming into Siddhasana. If that's too tricky a move, just bring your legs around and find an easy seat where your spine is tall in its natural curves. Feel free to sit up on something if that's easier. I'm going to finish with a mantra meditation. Once you've established your seat, bring your hands out in front, palms up, and tuck your thumbs in slightly to your palms. This is a prosperity meditation. For each repetition, tap the little finger side of your hands together, and then flip your hands and tap the first finger side. We're using the mantra heart. You roll the R so it sounds like a D. Heart is the creative aspect of infinity. Join in as you get a sense of it.
Heart, 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 heart.
This is a seed or bead mantra. So imagine each repetition as a seed you're sowing in fertile soil.
Heart, 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 heart.
It might be that one seed you planted at the beginning, or you might have a few.
Heart, 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 heart.
The gaze here for the eyes is down towards the tip of the nose, with the eyelids almost closed, so you can just see the tip of your nose and your hands moving underneath.
Heart, 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 heart.
As you finish, let your hands come to rest on your knees, palms up in a receptive gesture. Notice how you feel. Let the breath flow and the mind settle into the breath as it happens. Begin to deepen your breathing. As you inhale next, lift your arms out and up overhead, gathering up as you inhale, drawing in whatever it is you'd like to take with you off the mat. And as you exhale, draw down and in along your midline, acknowledging yourself, giving yourself a namaste for being present in your practice. If you're practicing with anyone else, acknowledging them. Namaste.